Thanks for checking out our video. Feel free to join our free weekly newsletter called Pop Culture Annotated, and also join our Discord server to talk with us and others that share your fandom in pop culture entertainment. Links in the description. Hey everybody, how's it going? So the new Joker trailer finally dropped for Joaquin Phoenix's version of the character, which so far, just based on the poster, the trailers, set photos, everything sounds pretty solid. I don't really see one loose end, so to speak, with regards to either the creative team of the film or even the actors in the film. Now, starting off the trailer, we have at 5 seconds a therapist. It looks like Arthur is talking to someone, and he's kind of putting on a fake smile. You know, she asked if talking about it. Basically, she asked him if therapy is helpful, and he basically kind of just gives a fake smile. Now, at 16 seconds, we see who appears to be Arthur's mother. Now, he's bathing her, helping her out, and her name is Penny Fleck, with Arthur, aka the Joker's name, being Arthur Fleck. And she's described as Arthur's older mother living in his apartment before her potential death, which they kind of tease and hint at in this trailer. And also from previous casting reports, she's described as being obsessed with her previous employer, that person being Thomas Wayne. At 23 seconds, we get to see him writing down jokes. We know he's a stand-up comic, not really good at it, but we know he does perform at some capacity in some venues, I guess whoever will have him, kind of thing. And from this, it kind of looks like he's trying to write jokes down, but he's kind of struggling really writing something that's sticking. It's hard to really read out all of his jokes. It kind of reminded me, if you look at his handwriting, it gets a little bit messier as he goes on, and then eventually he just kind of draws, basically, you know, he's just kind of cartooning a little bit all the way at the bottom with the word don't. And it kind of reminded me, I don't know if it's supposed to represent him slowly falling into madness, maybe, where like his jokes become a little less coherent and he's not even really writing them with much legibility. I don't know if it's that, or if it's also just to kind of show that even he doesn't really like his jokes, so he's kind of bored and he's doodling all over it, so to speak. Also on the right, it looks like that's like a medicine when you have tablets or pills and they put them in those like orange containers with the white lids. It kind of looks like that might be what's on like above his right hand. Not really sure if that's what it is, because we only get a top view, not really like an oblique view or just a regular side view. I thought I'd point that out because maybe he's on medicine. That's very possible, especially when dealing with a character like this who his whole thing is him falling into madness. Now next we get to see Arthur juggling a sign while dressed as a clown. This is probably not really that great of a job, but he's doing it to get by along with the comedy, hoping the comedy sticks. During this part, you know, while he's a sign twirler, people steal his sign, he chases after them, and they basically beat him up, which brings us to our next one. Now, something that I really noticed is that I'm sure this is all part of his one big bad day, and he's obviously dressed in a way that definitely is kind of a huge nod to what he'll eventually become. But I find it interesting all the trauma he goes through in this trailer, presumably on the same bad day, because I'm not sure if the trauma is going to be associated, like, you know, maybe a bunch of concussion trigger something. They kind of did that with the Punisher in the Netflix series, relating physical trauma to his mental trauma as well, and creating a thing where that represents, or not represents, but it explains why he behaves the way he does. So I wonder if they'll do something similar with this Joker, where maybe all the physical trauma he goes through compounds and adds to the mental trauma that he also goes through at the same time. And speaking of that, we get to see him at the next part here in front of a bunch of lockers. Just by the back shot, you can tell that something is wrong here. He looks unhealthy. He looks ridiculously skinny, with his spine being extra noticeable, which isn't usually a good thing. Last time I saw a character like this on, I guess, screen, it was Christian Bale's character when he lost all that weight for the role, which also I believe was kind of a mentally disturbed character if I wasn't mistaken. But yeah, they did say Joaquin Phoenix lost a lot of weight to play this character, so it definitely shows here. There's actually another shot in the trailer too of him dancing in the later half of it with like just underwear on. I'm not going to show that just because it doesn't really show us anything new. It's not really necessary. But that also shows us just how skinny Arthur is and how much weight, you know, Joaquin Phoenix loses during this role. And I don't know if this is supposed to be more of a physical way of showing us his descent into madness, because maybe he's not eating anymore, stuff like that. It's definitely something that they felt was worth showing. And if we keep going, we get to see Zazie Beetz, aka Sophie Duman, that's her character's name, and she's described as a cynical single mother and love interest for Arthur. So we actually see them at dinner together. She's laughing at him, so maybe she likes his jokes. I wouldn't be surprised if they set something up where stuff is really going bad for him. At least he has her in his life, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of set up that type of thing and then something happens to her and that's when he snaps. That last tether to who he was, his humanity, things like that, gone. So that'd be kind of interesting to see what comes from it. She's a great actress. She was in Deadpool somewhat recently playing Domino. I think a lot of people doubted her early on, but after seeing her in the role, a lot of people warmed up to it. So I'm sure she'll do great in this one as well. And getting on to the next scene afterwards, we get to see Arkham State Hospital, which probably will have the asylum wing put into it, I would say. And they kind of show us basically a confirmation that yes, those that are mentally ill are also in this hospital. When we transition to the next scene of him in an elevator and the person tied and strapped to the bed there. Now, I don't know who that character is. They're not really a named character. We do see a police officer there as well, but it seems like none of these characters are really either paying attention to or affiliated with Arthur. Seems like Arthur is more so here from his own free will, his own volition, and who knows, maybe he's checking himself in. I wouldn't be surprised if we get something like that and they probably evaluate him and they just go, yeah, you're not, really, you don't belong here, basically, and they kind of kick him out. And then his further descent into madness keeps on increasing, and maybe this is where the therapist comes in. Maybe he goes here actually to see a therapist on a somewhat regular basis instead of some other private location. Eventually he just leaves and it just becomes too much. At the next scene here, I don't really know who this character is. When I tried looking up the cast and crew, it looked like this was Scott Martin, who plays a homeless person. He seems to be talking to Arthur, and I wonder why Arthur may be at a homeless shelter, maybe, assuming that this is where the character is. But he's kind of giving Arthur a look like, boy, you crazy, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And at the next scene here, we get to see someone who looks like Arthur, at least, doing some stand-up. Now, we have a later shot in the trailer of Arthur also doing stand-up with similar attire on. It's not really exactly the same person, I don't think. It looks like two different outfits. If this is Arthur, one thing I will say is that he definitely has the Joker's nose. That's something that's really always used in animated depictions, the comic depictions, not really seen much in the live action depictions so far. So it's kind of interesting to get a Joaquin Phoenix Joker that from the side with his somewhat silhouette with the lighting looks like the Joker, just based off his facial features and stuff like that. We also get to see Joaquin Phoenix in a different scene. Maybe he's out to dinner, not really sure, watching another act, and he's laughing, and we get a little Joker laugh tease here at this moment with him laughing, and we get that a few more times in the trailer as well. At this next one, we get a little Joker makeup and smile tease, and this is a really interesting scene because obviously when he lets his hands out of his mouth, his facial feature just goes to a very stern, neutral or so cold kind of look. It's kind of interesting to see this, him doing the makeup, and I actually like that they're doing a different look for the Joker in this version. I just feel like it makes it more unique. It makes it more his own kind of take on the character instead of him simply doing yet another adaptation. At the next part here, we get to see him in the clown makeup again. He's kind of laughing. We don't know what he's laughing at, but he's just laughing, and these people on the subway call him a freak, approach him, and just start beating him up. This causes him more trauma, like I said before, kind of something I noticed here. He has a lot of trauma done to him and ends up on the floor a lot, and he's on the floor of the subway kind of laughing some more. And next here we get to see him notably in the same attire, running away from what is perceived to be a robbery of some sort. That's kind of interesting. Maybe this is the beginning of his life in crime, or maybe this is further at the end of the film where he's just officially the Joker at this point. And we get to see him watching Thomas Wayne on a talk show, and like I said before, this is someone who reportedly his mother is obsessed with, so it would make sense that he probably keeps some tabs on him or knows of Thomas Wayne. And this depiction of Thomas Wayne is described as being less sympathetic than usual versions of the character. So not really sure what that's going to mean too much when we actually see it. And the next part here, we get to see the Joker in the subway scene, which we've seen infamously a few times in set photos, and I believe they actually had a lot of health violations when they were filming this, so not really sure what's going on here, but based on other people in clown type of attire, it looks like the Joker is starting to get his posse formed here. And I actually really dig the outfit he has, by the way, too, with the velvet red kind of suit. That looks kind of fresh, I'm not gonna lie. I really like the costume design here for the Joker. Now if you go to the next scene here, it should be about a minute 48 seconds in the trailer, we get to see the Joker putting a smile on a little kid. Now, when you look up the cast and crew for the movie, it looks like this little kid actually might be young Bruce Wayne, which is wild that they're actually not only having that character in here, but that the Joker is going to interact with him before he obviously even becomes a Joker, and before Bruce Wayne even probably, before his parents are dead, obviously, and before he goes on his journey to eventually become Batman, who becomes the arch nemesis of Arthur Fleck's Joker. So that'll be really interesting. I do hope we don't get any sequels to this movie. I hope it's a one and done character piece and that's it, just because I think it'll be more special that way, but also because just like Gotham, I don't need to see this version of Bruce Wayne's journey into Batman. But yeah, it's definitely really interesting to see. He's kind of behind these bars, and in the trailer it looked like he had a red nose on, again further alluding to the clown slash Joker persona. And then we also get to see him doing his stand-up here. I don't really know if he's laughing, as maybe he's just embracing that everything's kind of a joke, he sucks at comedy, or in my personal opinion, this may be some sort of dream-like sequence where he's imagining himself in like a dream scenario, being really funny, making everybody laugh, and he's happy. Now next we get to see a character named Murray Franklin, who's a talk show host, and it looks like he's about to bring Arthur out, bring the Joker out, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they all think the Joker is just one big comedy routine, and then obviously the Joker probably on television. I wouldn't be surprised during this scene he kind of surprises a few people and shows that his act is a little less than an act, and he's more so just like a crazy guy who probably is going to kill you. And going to the last two shots, we get a few money shots here depending on which one you like more. On this one, I find it interesting, he has a bunch of flowers, so maybe he's kind of losing his mind here, and maybe he goes to see Zazie Beetz' character, and then that's kind of like the final straw. Like I said, either she rejects him, or who knows, maybe she just gets killed for whatever reason due to his activities. Maybe someone links the two of them and wants to take revenge on him by killing her. Wouldn't be surprised if that's something that is in play. I just thought it'd be interesting to mention the flowers, and also him walking down the hallway. Not sure if this is his building or maybe Zazie Beetz' character's building that he's walking the hallway into. In this next shot, this is my personal money shot here. We get to see him. Really great look at him in the Joker makeup with the green dyed hair, which I think is important to note, with his Joker outfit on. Beautiful, 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 beautiful shot. And he seems to be in an elevator, and then it pans over with the side pan showing October with the movie's release date. Fantastic look at the Joker right here. Let us know your guys' thoughts down below. What do you guys think about this version of the Joker and the movie itself? Do you guys look forward to this movie? Do you guys not really care about this movie? Would you like to see the DC universe expand on this type of film where they do more character pieces? I would love to see one with The Question. I think that'd be a really good one. I think there's a lot of characters you could honestly do in this way, and I hope that this movie is a huge success, so DC opens the door for more character pieces like the Joker movie. And at the same time, I hope they don't do another Joker movie, just because I think this one's going to be really special, and it'll be really special if it stays in this way of kind of being one and done. But comment below, and we'll see you guys later.